Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Umineko. We're finally past the prologue and sort of at where we were when we started the first chapter. People are soon to arrive and are traveling there. Rosa and Maria are traveling by train and presumably just arrived at the train station. So maybe this is a discussion that takes place before the boat arrives. That's what I'm predicting for this conversation between Natsuhi and presumably Kraus. Dear? What are you doing in a place like this? Maybe that means that, what's his face? Kinzo was out and about the day before his relatives arrived.
Kimiko.
It's you. Nothing. A pleasant place to think. Okay. All of our preparations done? Alright. Tea and relaxation. Well, we know things aren't going to go too well. Go for it. Forgive me. I'm always making you handle such troublesome matters. Please rely on me more. She said Doka? Interesting. That must be like shorthand. That must be Japanese shorthand. Since I can see what she's cutting, I can guess what she's cutting out. But it's like unexpected unless you're reading the translation. I'd be like, what the fuck is Like, I'd have to sit there and like intuit what that meant for a good minute. I'm your wife? Yeah. He's grateful to have us always coming to his... Natsuhi always coming to his aid. Is he though? Is he really? That's why he's able to devote himself to his work? I don't know about that, man. Kraus is just like a big fat liar all the time to me. I understand. I understand about your work. I like how she's face palming the second he's like, my work. She's like, oh good lord. Like, it's like, bless your soul, Kraus. You think you can do anything useful? And she's like, please stop being so dumb. She's face palming. This is not just simply a restricted set of sprites. She's face palming when he talks about his work. That's what I'm taking it as. I understand about your work and the topic of father's inheritance, right? It has nothing to do with you? It's nothing more than fishing for rotten meat amongst greedy siblings. Well, that sounds miserable. Inheritance stuff usually is, though. It's okay? Everything is gonna be fine. Yeah. That's not happening. Your businesses have never failed to work themselves out. Doesn't he always lose colossal amounts of money? Come again? He's like super awkward about this because he's lying. Natsuhi softly cuddled close to Kraus's shoulder. She complimented him on his hard work, but Natsuhi knew better than anyone his work wasn't going well. Ooh, savage. Kraus's project was something like a seesaw where a large amount of money swings. Big investments lead to big payoffs. But like large seesaws, they tend to shake a lot when moving very slowly, instead of showing immediate results. At times, it's possible to make further investments so that the seesaw inclines faster towards the side you want. Of course, you only do that if you're confident you can recover all your investments in the not-too-distant future. How's it going, my dude? However, the seesaws Kraus chose never turned out as he would have liked them to. His foresight wasn't wrong, but the times were moving sluggishly. They never managed to catch up with him. For example, think of a literal seesaw placed in a park. It's a popular item, there's always someone playing on it. And you've got to wait a long time for your turn. Let's say one day you spot one of those seesaws that's completely unused. You race to grab it first and have it all to yourself. However, unless someone else gets on the opposite end of the seesaw, you can't play on it. What if lots of time passed and nobody came to the opposite end? Seesaws are popular, so if you wait long enough, a companion will surely show up. But Kraus noticed something. The weather's getting worse, so nobody's coming outside to play. But seesaws are popular, someone will surely come eventually. If he vacated his place because of the worsening weather, it'd certainly be snatched away. And once again, he'd end up longingly gazing from a distance at someone else having fun on the seesaw. On one side, he continued to wait patiently all alone. That was Kraus's project and his current situation. If only I had a bit more courage and the confidence to believe in my own foresight. Oof. I'd never have failed. And that's, is that true? Your foresight's never wrong? I feel like this is just empty flattery at this point, Natsuhi. You're the only one who inherited father's resourcefulness? Yeah, but you're not making money. You inherited an innate disposition that none of the other siblings did. But I could never believe in it. I always shut my own projects down like a coward. Why can't I believe in myself? Who'd believe in a man who can't believe in himself? Natsuhi, apparently. Nobody believes. I always sit on the seat where the losers must sit. My father, my mother, my siblings all sneer at me. Are they wrong, though? How long will it take for me to be set free of this emotional complex? Cry me a river, you're super rich. How long will it take? Natsuhi was the only one who knew. Only she knew of his anguish. As the eldest son of the family, who would be soon forced to bear an immense responsibility, he couldn't open his pained heart to anyone and was always getting compared to his father's great enterprises. I've made preparations concerning all other matters. You should be able to devote your attention entirely to the conference. Everything's been seen to. Thanks. Will there be what? Problems with father? Oh boy. No? Genji and Nanjo are on our side. I'll never allow those greedy siblings to make contact with father. Oh, interesting. Interesting. Hello, Goda here. So they were planning something? About stopping any of the other siblings from talking with their father alone? Interesting. Not that it matters, because he just didn't come down and talk to fucking anybody the whole time. Until he died, other than Nazi, I guess. Goda here. Leave it to me. I'm anxious to put my skills to work for the big annual job. In the kitchen, multicolored ingredients were gathered, and the preliminary arrangements were promptly being started. Even though it was still morning, ingredients for dinner were already in saucepans and steaming. French cooking. Normally he had to deal with several assorted matters, but on the day of the family conference he could devote himself entirely to cooking. To Goda, who was originally a chef, this was surely the greatest gala occasion of the whole year. Dinner will be calf steak. A wonderful cut of meat is already waiting for tonight in the refrigerator. Look forward to dinner. It was rare for Goda to be in this good of a mood towards his fellow servants. He bragged about being their personal chef, and knowing he was considered worthy to display his excellent cooking at the family conference was his greatest honor.
よろしく頼む。
Understood. I leave everything to you.
あと、熊沢がそちらにいないか。
Is Kumasawa there?
熊沢さんですか。
Kumasawa?
先ほど見かけましたが、こちらにはおりません。
I happened to see her earlier, but she's not here.
ゲストハウスの方へ準備に行か
Perhaps
れた
she's
のでは
getting
ないで
things
しょ
ready
う
in the
か。
guest house?
また油を売っているのか。
Is she loafing around again?
いや、結
No.
構だ。
It's fine. She's apparently out on the mainland, actually. Or on the next closest island.
では引き続きよろしく頼む。
Please continue with your work.
ええ、万事このゴーダにお任せを。
I'll leave everything to me, Goda. Alright. This is where we're headed. Genji placed the telephone back on the receiver, sighing lightly. Genji sighed once again, thinking of Kumasawa, who is probably hiding again, even though things were this busy. I mean, she is sort of hiding, right? She's hiding by, going to greet them at the docks. Oh. And the ostentatious Goda, who only felt like doing anything on a day when he could show off. Genji is not impressed by these people. Excuse me. The preparations for all rooms in the guest house are complete.
お嬢様よりお子様方が泊まれるよう4人分の用意をするようにとのご指示を賜りましたが
We received instructions from Milady to prepare a room for 4 people so that the children can spend the night together. What shall we do?
今年は6年ぶりにバトラ様がお見えになるそうだ。
I heard Battler Sama will be coming for the first time in 6 years.
お嬢様もいとこ4人で夜更かしをされたいのだろう。
Presumably, Milady wants to stay up late into the night with her 3
準備
cousins.
するように
Make the preparations.
奥様にはお伝えしなくてよい。
You do not need to tell, Mada.
そうですね。
I
かしこまり
see.
ました。
Certainly.
今夜は深夜勤でそのまま明日は早朝勤か
So, tonight we'll have the late night shift, followed immediately by the morning
しん
shift.
どい2日間にな
It
りそう
looks
だ
like
な
these 2 days will be tiresome.
そういえば、台風が直撃するって天気予報で言って
Speaking
い
of
ま
which,
すね。
the weather forecast is saying a typhoon will strike in this area.
大丈夫でしょうか
Will everything be alright? Oh yeah, it'll be fine. I'm sure it'll be fine. Have some confidence, right?
台風がよほどそれない限り、場合によっては親族の皆様方のお帰りの船に響く。
Assuming the typhoon doesn't stray too far from its course, it may affect the boat ride back for the family members.
親族会議の日程が
The conference
月曜
schedule
か
might
火
be
曜あたり
extended
まで
until Monday or perhaps Tuesday. That's a good thought. They should be prepared for that.
長丁場になるだろうが、皆くれぐれも粗相のないように頼む。
Our task may be long and a tiring one, but I earnestly ask that you care not to take any blunder or make any blunders. Oof.
シャノンは焦らぬよう落ち着いて、
Shannon, stay calm. Don't panic.
カノンは愛想よくご挨拶をする。
Cannon, please greet our guests in a sociable manner. I mean, asking Cannon to greet guests is straight up impossible. Shannon not panicking? It's doable.
はい。
At least he knows what the issues with them are. He's like, okay, one of these panics all the time. One of these is antisocial, but at least they do their work, right? Presumably he's like, these ones work, but they have flaws. The other 2 guys barely want to work.
注意します。
I'll be careful.
注意します
I'll be careful.
大切なお客様がお越しになられる日だ。
Today, we must conduct ourselves in a manner suitable for a very important
くれ
guest.
ぐれも粗相がないように。
See that you make no blunders. Oh boy, good luck.
心得ています
You understand? You understand? Do you
い
really?
つだってここには大切なお客様しか訪
All
れま
guests
せん
who
から
visit here are important.
カノン、
Aren't they now? Cannon? Cannon?
今日は本当の意味で
In the truest
大
sense,
切なお客様を迎える。
we will be receiving a very important guest today.
心構えを改めるように。
Make sure you're prepared.
はい
Sir.
シャノン、どうした？
Shannon, is something the matter? She's way too heavy
さ
for
っ
this.
きから何かそわそわしているようだが。
Oh, you
何か
seem
時
uneasy.
間
Do you
の
have
約束でもあるのか
some prior engagement at this time?
いえ、なんでもありません。失礼いたしました。
My apologies.
姉さん、今日
Nesa.
は大切なお客様がお越しになる日なんだよ。
Important guests will be arriving today, and Genji is implying, with the bold text on important guests, I don't think he just means those two. He might know about the appearance of Beatrice or expect the ritual to be going on now.
プライベートとは切り離すようにね。
Detach yourself from your private life.
プライベートなんか知りません。
I don't know what you mean by private life. As Shannon blushed just a bit, she turned her gaze away from the clock. Was it about time for the airplane carrying the family to arrive at Nijima? Wait, is it actually Nijima? Is it Nijima? Oh, it's two eyes. I missed that. My bad. Alright, Nijima. She tried to hide the fact that her upcoming, long-awaited reunion with George was making her heart race. But Cannon, who stood beside her, seemed to see right through her. Hate wars, but the enemy is the master. That ends quickly. You know what? This does end in a few days. But if it was made wars, it would have ended in a single day. That group cannot help but end up getting into a gunfight every time they go somewhere. Shannon, please don't say a word and accept this. Inside a bathroom stall, George was practicing something over and over, taking out a small velvet box hidden in his pocket like a quick-draw desert gunman. That's not it. Shannon likes men who are more assertive. I gotta pump it up with more horsepower. Shannon, put this on your ring finger. That's an order. Okay. If I don't properly, it's on the left hand. She might put it on her right hand. No, she's not that dumb. She's not that ignorant. Unless there's some room for her to express her free will, there'd be a little, I mean... George, okay. Is that part of your rehearsal, George? As he crossed his arms, muttering, someone knocked on the door. George was snapped back to reality.
Oh, George-kun.
Hey, George-kun. You alright? A stomachache or something? Hey, Rudolph. It's fine, it's fine. Okay. No need to worry. Really? That's good then. You know, you're straining way too much. Your ass will burst. Rudolph washed his hands, laughing cheerfully as he left. George, realizing that the most embarrassing part hadn't been overheard, relaxed and felt relieved. Kiri, isn't Rosa here yet? Not yet. They were delayed because she went to the supermarket, if you recall. Not yet, she's pretty late. Good thing the weather delayed our flight. If the schedule had gone on normally, she would have missed the plane. What did she plan on doing then? Swimming. Rosa San's very much an adult now. He'll manage it somehow. No matter how old they get, older brothers always treat their younger sisters like children. You speaking from experience, Kiri? I think she's speaking from experience. Of course, Dad's always a kid, no matter how old he gets. What'd you say? If I'm a kid, that'd make you a baby. Come on, Battle-chan, up you go! Stop it, that tickles. Oh. You look more like two bratty friends than a father and son. Look, she's here. Ooh. If it isn't Rosa. But isn't Rosa Maria-chan? Long time no see. We've seen this exact dialogue line come out of Hideyoshi in the first arc.
久しぶり
Hisashiburi. Oh, sorry, long time no see. How old is Kiri? I don't know how old Kiri is. Like 30s?
マリア、お
Maria.
久しぶりです。でしょ
Shouldn't it be it's good to see you again?
言ってごらん。
What'd she say? Long time no see? But long time no see was fine. Greet Hideyoshi-san properly, except for the ooze.
お久しぶりです。
It's good to see you again. I think she wanted formal speech instead of informal speech, and minus the ooze, of course. Of course, she wanted it without the ooze.
そうや。
There you
よ
go.
く言えたな。
Well
ご
said.
褒美に飴玉あげような。
How about some candy as a reward?
あれどこにしまったんや。
Where'd I put it?
ローザさん、お久しぶりです。
Rosa, it's good to see you again.
マリアちゃんもお久しぶり。
Good to see you too, Maria-chan.
ご無沙汰してます、キリエ姉さん、秀吉兄さん。
Been too long, Kiri-san? Hideyoshi-san? Alright. So, wait, how old did we say Rosa was? I think Rosa was like 35? So I guess since she says Nei-san, she's probably like 37?
と、あら、バトラ君
And, oh my, Battler?
大きくなったわね。
Rosa's 35, I know that one, but Kiri I'm guessing is like 37 because she said Nei-san. Look how big you've gotten. Are we gonna do this whole scene
い
again?
やー
Come
今日
on.
は会うたびに言われてて恥ずかしいっすよ。
It's embarrassing to hear that from everyone I meet. I'm curious what they're gonna do to change this scene, because honestly, we didn't need to know that he was practicing that in the bathroom, so kind of hoping they spice this up and we don't replay the scene, or maybe we'll replay it every route. We'll see.
おう、ローザ。
Hey,
遅かった
Rosa.
な。
You're late. If the plane was on time, you'd probably have barely made it.
ごめんなさい。
Sorry.
列車の接続がうまくいかなくて。
Some trouble making our train connection.
何？また天候調査中なの？
So, are we waiting on the weather again?
ぼやかないぼやかない。
Oh, don't complain.
船で6時間も揺られるくらいなら飛行機でほんの30分の方がずっとマシよ。
I much prefer a 30-minute plane trip to spending 6 hours bouncing about on a
た
boat.
とえ1時間余計に待たされたって全然早いんだから。
Even if we kept waiting here for an hour, it's still much faster overall.
あれがマリアなのか。
Isn't that Mario?
大きくなったな。
You've gotten big.
成長期か。
He's at that growing age. I guess so.
前に会ったのは6年前？
You haven't seen her for 6
それ
years,
は変
right?
わるわよ。
Of course she's
女の
changed.
心変わりがあれば、たった1日でも生まれ変わる生き物よ。
Women are creatures who could be born again in a single day when they have a change of heart. The Ishiramiya's family sucks with their money. Yeah, they do. I know you're memeing due to that random command, but oof, they bad. Maria, noticing a big man she didn't recognize mixed in among the relatives, hid behind Rosa's back and glared at Battler.
おい、バトラ。挨拶しろい。
Come on,
前やったの
Battler.
が3
Say
歳の
hi.
時じゃ。初対面も同じだ
Last
ぞ。
time you met her, she was just 3 years old. You're practically meeting for the first time.
3歳じゃ覚えてねえよな。
Of course, she wouldn't remember something happening when she was 3.
よマリア。久し
Hey,
ぶ
Maria.
り。
Hey, Mario. he says, long time no see. Like, he knows he can say use casual dialogue, but Mario can't.
大きくなったな。
You sure have gotten big? Alright.
マリア、
Battler isn't a pet. Are you sure?
バトラお兄ちゃんよ。
This is Battler Oni-chan.
ルドルフおじさんの息子さん。
Rudolph Nissan's
Okay.
son. Understood?
おじさんの息子さんが、
The brother's son
お
is...
じさんが息子さん。
Brother is the son... She was obviously on her guard. After all, it's hardly surprising she'd be scared if a large guy like Battler suddenly started speaking frankly to her. Battler noticed as well and thought of various ways he might approach her. Then he spotted the candy she had in her hand. It was the jack-o'-lantern sweet Rosa had brought for her.
そっか。10月だからハロウィンか。
Oh, it's October. That must be for Halloween.
お菓子をくれなきゃいたずらしちゃうぞ。
If you don't give me sweets, I'll play a prank, right? Normally trying to snatch a sweet away from a small child will result in them crying and screaming. The adults seemed dubious about his tactics, but Maria seemed unexpectedly pleased, her face splitting into a wide grin.
Halloween! Halloween!
She just starts cheering Halloween. It's so appropriate, right?
バトラもハロウィン知ってる。ほらほら。
Timo, Battler knows about Halloween. See?
こら、バトラお兄ちゃんと呼びなさい。
Call him Battler Oni-chan. I'd like to point out they're talking about Halloween, but the translation is if you don't give me sweets, I'll play a prank. Not trick or treat. It's like trick or treat. Isn't trick or treat like wouldn't that be like a set phrase in English that means specifically this in the context of Halloween? Right? Like you wouldn't use this awkward dialogue of if you don't give me sweets, I'll play a prank. You say trick or treat, right? Like if you're translating that and you're in context, it should just be trick or treat, right? This last sentence should be trick or treat, right? I think that's what it's supposed to be. Whereas, like, you know, the translator seems to have, I don't know, not been like a native English speaker or just not reading the context, because the previous sentence says it's October, so that must be for Halloween, and then he says trick or treat, right? Like, that makes sense to me. It's one of those rare occasions where I think the translation's wrong, is every time they say this, I'm really confused what the dialogue's supposed to be saying. I'm like, I have to read the sentence and then go, oh, it's trick or treat. Like, they clearly screwed up the phrase. Oh well. It is what it is. Hey, call her Battler Oni-chan.
ごめんね、バトラ君。
Sorry, Battler-kun.
いやいや、気にしないっすよ。
Oh no, don't sweat
俺
it.
はバトラと呼んでくれ。
Please, call me Battler.
マリアって呼ぶからな。
Because I'll be calling you Maria.
ほらマリア、ハロウィンだぞ。
Look, Maria, it's
お菓子
Halloween.
をくれなきゃいたずらしちゃうぞ。
Trick or treat. I'm just gonna translate that last line as trick or treat, because anything else would be
お菓子
silly.
をくれなきゃいたずらしちゃうぞ。
It is quite a mouthful in Japanese, though. Trick or treat is 3 words, and it's like, I wish I could do a replay, because it's like 10 words in Japanese. Damn. Actually, what does this read as in Japanese?
お菓子をくれなきゃいたずらしちゃうぞ。
That is a mouthful. That is a mouthful. Itazura? Itazura is actually written in katakana. I wonder what that's supposed to be. That's interesting. Alright.
お菓子をくれなきゃいたずらしちゃうぞ。
I wonder what Itazura is from. Itazura? I wonder what that's from. You call this true? Yes, I do call this a time. It wasn't the intended time. Things happened. Stuff happened. Stuff that was very last minute. And I wasn't given quite a reason for. That feeling when it's super late at night, but you're not like, yeah, I've been there, man. I've been there. It fucking sucks sometimes. Sometimes it sucks, and sometimes you're grateful for it because it's like the weekend and stuff, and you're like, oh, it doesn't matter. I can just go do whatever and not waste my time. And then other times, it's on a fucking Tuesday. You're up 3 in the morning, and you're like, fuck my life. I have to get up in the morning. Yeah. Wonderful, right? Monday night, of course. So from inside her purse, Maria picked out a jack-o'-lantern sweet similar to the one she had in her hand and presented it to Battler. When he accepted it, that seemed to be enough to confirm their friendship. The adults were amazed at how good children can be at getting along with each other. Weekend's over? I fucking hate that, man. The weekdays suck.
Oh,
Maria had been throwing a tantrum because she wanted a Halloween festival, so Battler, who knew about trick-or-treating, must have felt like an ally. Evidently so. Her defensive posture from before was completely gone. Although everyone knows you probably shouldn't accept a gift from a witch, so Battler is in trouble already, accepting gifts from strange witches. Now she was all cheery as though they'd been friends for decades.
そうだな。日本じゃハロウィンってマイナーなイベントだよな。
Yeah, that certainly came out of nowhere. That was a bit surprising. That's right, Halloween's a pretty minor event in
仮装行
Japan.
列で練り歩くなんて向こうのニュースではよく見るけど、日本じゃ見たことないぜ。
You always see people marching in costume parades on the news from overseas, but I've never seen it here.
マリアも仮装したかった。
I wanted to wear a costume
仮装
too.
していとこみんなでお菓子をくれなきゃいたずらしちゃうぞってやりたかっ
Wanted
た。
to say trick or treat with all the cousins wearing costumes. Hello there.
そっかそっか。今度俺と一緒にやろうな。
Yes, we're sea catting. Next time, let's do it together.
マリアだったら何の仮装をして練り
What
歩
would
き
you
たい
like to dress up as? A witch. Yep, a witch.
ベアトリーチェ。
Beatrice. Black Friday's the real holiday where you see monsters, though. Black Friday's not too far off Halloween, though. It's close enough, right? It's like a month out-ish. A month and a bit out. It's not too far out.
おや、お嬢様、こんなところに。
Oh, milady, what are you doing in such a place? Okay, good. We cut to a scene we hadn't seen before.
奥様が探しておいででしたよ。
Madam was looking for you.
探されたくねえからこんなところにいるんだぜ。
I'm here because I don't want to be found. That's a weird place to stand, the entry hall?
どうせみなりは大丈夫かとか、言葉遣いをちゃんとするようにとか、お小言が言いたいだけに違いないぜ。
Anyway, I'm sure she wants to scold me. Is your appearance alright? Watch your language. You've seen a kid get stomped on Black Friday for a 3090 Ti? Gamers can be cruel. I mean, I'm gonna say, it's Black Friday, and 3090 Ti's are crazy hard. Actually, getting a NVIDIA GPU last year was fucking impossible. If I could stomp a kid, get away with it, and get my fucking GPU card for MSRP, I would have fucking done it. That's not even a question. Greedy people going in there and buying like 60 fucking video cards to sell on eBay, man. Fuck 'em. It was like 10% over. I'd pay 10% over. That's better than 5 times. That's better than looking at the price of the card and going, should I just buy the most expensive card on the market? Because it'd probably be cheaper than buying a low-end card on eBay. For the ridiculous markup scalpers are making you pay for it. It was like a 30... It was like a 30... What? I wanted like a 3070? Yeah, I wanted a 3070. And they were like going for like almost 4 times MSRP. Like, fuck that. Like, I don't know what the fuck that kid's buying it for. He's probably buying it to scalp it, because guess what? Kids don't have $1,000 running to spend on one video card. If you're buying like some old card, I'd see it. But if I saw a random ass kid who's like 10, who somehow has the money to spend $1,500 on a video card, that's not even like the entirety of his computer, I'd be like, yeah, this kid's buying shit for someone else. It's probably like his dad or mom is probably like getting him to buy the card so they can sell it on eBay at a stupid markup. I'd be like so sus. You got one of the Ace of the Section Notcher cards? Wasn't then, it was like 14. So like just not 10, I don't know how old they were. But if you're not old enough to drive, you probably don't have thousands of dollars kicking around for a random GPU. for random computer pieces. Because I can tell you, when I at the minute I was legally allowed to work, I started working. And I could not afford that shit, man. I could not afford a high-end computer. I had to like buy like a bunch of last generation stuff. Could not buy anything recent. Cause it was like I had to make it for like the price of an Xbox. Just the Xbox. And I needed to like source a monitor, keyboard, and mouse for free. As well as the OS for free. It was like fucking hard, man. It was really irritating. I remember doing that because, yeah, daddy's money, basically. Because I remember one of my friends got their gaming PC for their birthday. They got their gaming PC for their birthday, and so did the other one. And then I had to go buy mine. Keyboard, mouse, and headset are around. Yeah. Like I already had the keyboard and mouse, and I think I already had the speakers because I had like. When I went to build my gaming PC, I already had a PC that worked. But like the PC I got the PC, I think it was a school PC they were throwing out because it was too old. So I technically had speakers. I technically had speakers and like a keyboard and mouse. But they were like literal, and like the case and everything, but that was literally like all surplus from like an actual school that was throwing shit out. Like, it was functional, but they were, like, replacing other computers, so... But those were the peripherals. I believe those were the peripherals I started it with. I had to, like, replace things as I got the money for them. So, $1,000? Yeah, good luck. $1,000+ for the GPUs? Woo, that's not happening. Yeah, you can get an old workstation, throw in something in there, have a blast with, like, yeah, for sure. Yeah, I was playing like the original Command & Conquer Red Alert, original StarCraft. And I think I ended up having to replace the monitor they gave me, which was fine because I actually bought a really small TV. I bought a small TV with an HDMI input. Or, no, not an HDMI. Yes, is it HDMI? No, VGA. I bought a small monitor with a VGA input. A small TV with a VGA input so that I could play on my Xbox and, PC at the same time. You still need to swap out my CPU? I'm not building a new computer yet. I actually just overclocked this one, and it's doing fine. VGA, the good old days? Yeah. The good old days of VGA. Yeah, VGA is real fun, because when the cable starts to go, or the connection starts to go, your colors get all fucked up. So I was playing like StarCraft and all the colors were completely fucked. It was really hard to see shit and looked really ugly. If anyone touched the monitor, that's what happened. Oh, without it. You know, when the day of the family conference comes, I always start thinking about this witch for some reason. Cool. And what might that be? Family conference. Okay. The family conference is the day when everyone related to grandfather enters. Gathers. Yep. Okay. I hear this time even Battler's gonna be coming after 6 years. Yeah, I like starting earlier. I would like to start earlier for all of my European bros. Alas, I can't do that on weekdays because I have to work. But one day, maybe one day, in the far future, we'll be able to shift things a little bit earlier. So all my European bros can have a good time without having to stay up to absurdly late hours. But that is a far-off dream, about as real as Avalon. For now. Yeah, about as real as Avalon. Or, the achievement of immortality. Yeah, let's go with that one. Perhaps even the heat death of the universe. A real threat, but so far off it may as well not exist. It's possible, but it's unlikely. It's possible, but it's in the realm of impossibility. Alright. So, I hear Battler's gonna be coming around this time after 6 whole years, yeah. You ready,
そ
Jessica?
んな感じでさ、
What if just like that?
何十年かぶりに今までずっと姿を現さなかった親族が
What
ひ
if
ょっこりと
just like
現れるん
that?
じゃないかって。
Some relative who's never shown themselves for decades shows up. That's what I'm always thinking about.
ほほう。そんな親族がおりますでしょうか。
Could a relative like that even
ベア
exist?
トリーチェ様だよ。
I mean, Beatrice
素
sama.
性は誰も知らない。
No one knows her background.
あるいは大昔のじい様の愛人なのか。
Could she be grandfather's mistress from long
その
ago?
子孫がひょっこりと現れて、授けた黄金を返せなんて言い出すかもしれないぜ。
What if one of her descendants suddenly appears and tells us to return the gold we were given or something?
クラウス様たちは親方様の遺産問題で今年も議論されるでしょうから。
Kraus and the others will probably be discussing the inheritance this year too.
どうも魔女の黄金の話で盛り上がっては、黄金を与えた魔女本人がそろそろおいでになってもおかしくありませんね。
Once they get so fired up talking about the witch's gold, one could hardly be surprised if the witch herself were to show up, yes? And now, Kumasama's incredibly verbose way of speaking begins.
熊沢さんはさ、辞め
Kumasawa-san?
たり勤めたりと忙しいけど、現実さん並みに昔からここに出入りしてるわけでしょ？
You keep quitting and getting rehired, but you've been here as long as Genji, right?
ベアトリーチェのこと、もっと
You
知って
know more
るん
about
じゃないの？
Beatrice, don't you? She might.
さて、
Who knows?
どうでしょう。
Oh, she's
思い出そうにもこの老いぼれ。今朝の朝食すらも思い出せませんので。
even if I try to remember, this old woman here can't even recall what she had for breakfast this morning. Uh-huh.
熊沢さんはいっつもそういう言い方で逃げるけど、何か知ってそうなんだよな。
Kumasawa, you're always dodging with those excuses, but you know something, right?
知ってて物陰で
I
笑
just
って
bring
る
her
みたいな
mistress.
陰湿な雰囲気が時々するぜ。
Sometimes you feel kind of devious, like you know something and you're laughing behind our backs.
これは手厳しい。
That's
隠し事など何もしており
I
ま
don't
せん。
have any secrets. None at all?
私から申し上げられることは、
The only thing I can say is that Beatrice-sama is the Golden Witch.
ベアトリーチェ様は黄金の魔女であられて、この島の夜を支配されている。
And
も
she
う
is
一
the...
人の主人であられるということだけでございます。
Are we done, Kumasawa? We're done? Okay. And that she is the other master who controls the night of this island. Good lord.
じい様の受け売りかよ。
And now you're just repeating grandfather's stuff. But it might be
給
true.
料もらってるとはいえ、じい様の妄言に付き合うのも大変だな。
It must be a pain to play along with grandfather's crap, even though you get paid for it.
ただ、これだけは申し上げられます。
However, I can say this much.
何？
What?
六軒島は太古の昔、小豆島と呼ばれて恐れられてきました。
In ancient times, Rakanjima was feared and called Azukishima. Azuki Bean Island. I don't know why that took me 3 attempts to get right.
悪時期がなまったものと言われ、本当は悪時期島と呼ばれていたのだと、漁民たちの間では伝えられておりました。
The Azuki is said to be a corrupted form of Akujiki, and in fact, it was called Akujikishima. That's what it was told among fishermen. That's why I was so confused. She's not saying Azukishima, she's saying Akujikishima. What the heck? Let's repeat that.
六軒島は太古の昔、小豆島と呼ばれて恐れられてきました。
Yeah, she's not saying that.
六軒島は太古の昔、小豆島と呼ばれて恐れられてきました。小豆は悪時期がなまったものと言われ、本当は悪時期島と呼ばれていたのだ。
Ah, it's very close. It's very
漁民た
close.
ちの間
Okay.
では伝えられておりま
It's
す。
very close. She is saying Azukishima. But I was hearing Akujishima, and I was really confused when I read Azukishima.
前にも聞いたよ。
I've heard that before.
この辺は暗礁が多くて海難事故が多かったから領民たちが恐れてむやみに近づかなかった。
Supposedly there's lots of sunken rocks and shipwrecks around here, so the fishermen got scared and stayed away whenever they could, right?
悪食島には悪霊が住み着いていて、太古の昔から人々の魂を喰らい続けてきました。
Evil spirits have settled down in Akujikishima and have continually eaten the souls of people since ancient times. Damn, alright. That's, concerning.
この島に関わり、命を奪われた人間はあまりにも多い。
Quite a few people have lost their lives because of this island.
それを旅の修験者だかなんだかが例の社を作って鎮魂したんで収まった。
And then that monk, the traveling Shugenja or whatever it was, built that shrine, reposed the souls and settled them there, right?
うさんくせえ話だぜ。
It sounds pretty crazy though.
その鎮魂の社はこの夏、暗き闇を引き裂く紫色の不気味な雷で打ち砕かれたとか。
I'd like to point out that they used a certain someone's favorite waifu Murasaki for purple. Remember that Murasaki is purple in Japanese, so we did in fact hear Murasaki. And then we heard lightning after that. But hey, violet thunderbolt. That shrine for the repose of souls was destroyed by an eerie violet thunderbolt this summer, which tore up the darkness of the night. You know, it took me a minute. I don't know why, but I've seen so much video game lightning. I forgot that real lightning is not yellow. I was like, violet lightning, that's a crazy color of lightning in my head. And then I was like, wait a minute. Lightning is normally like purple-white. It's like purple-white or blue-white if you want to think of it that way. It's not usually yellow. Kumasawa-san, you really like those stories. Okay, sure. It'd be pretty creepy if a thunderbolt took out a shrine. But hey, it was all worn out from the start. It was literally struck by lightning and destroyed. That's a ill fucking omen, man. Maybe it got washed away by a big wave. Someone's in denial. Jesus.
眠りから目覚めた悪食島の悪霊がベアトリーチェ様を呼び寄せたのです。
The evil spirits of Akuji Kishima woke from their slumber and summoned Beatrice-sama. Beatrice-sama.
ベアトリーチェ様が親族会議に訪れられるようなことがあったなら。
If Beatrice-sama happens to pay a visit to the family conference. If she does? Kumasawa fell silent for a moment. Jessica was pressing her to keep going, so that gap felt strange and eerie. When Kumasawa noticed she had Jessica plenty scared with her silence, she grinned broadly. I wonder what would happen. I think we should just let Kumasawa die, because she keeps being useless. In fact, I'd rate half the servants as useless as they refuse to acknowledge the existence of the gold, the promise from the master that it's real and that he'll give the treasure to anyone. Like all the servants are being fucking useless as servants and messengers. Holy shit. Alright, now I wonder what would happen. Like Kumasawa's probably been told if Beatrice is summoned, you know, we're all gonna die or some shit, probably. And then she just doesn't bother delivering that as a missive to anybody. Like, they've probably all been told, but none of them said, oh, it's Beatrice, because the master said that's going to be the case. Someone's going to come and murder us all, but none of them want to volunteer useful information or communicate. They're all, like, being quiet about it. As a servant, you should believe the same as your master, otherwise get thrown in the sacrificial pit? Yeah. That seems to be the case in this place.
Hey, そいつは素敵じゃないかよ。
Oh, that sounds great.
でしょ?
Of course.
たまには優雅な時間を得て、あなたの心を豊かにするのも、あなたの仕事に役に立つんじゃないかしら。
Won't you be able to do better at work if you get a chance to enrich your heart by living the good life every once in a while?
だな。心と財布は豊かじゃなきゃいけねえ。
Can't live right unless both your wallet and heart are enriched after all.
わかったよ。 その日は開けておくことにする。
I'll keep that day
予
open.
約を頼むぜ。
Go ahead, make reservations. Okay.
絶対よ。
Don't think of missing
あ
it.
あ、よろしく頼む。愛
Yeah,
し
I'm
てる
counting
ぜ
on you.
キリエ。
Love you, Kiri. What's this? Where's this taking place? After kissing the receiver, Rudolph hung up. Before his seat, there were several executives with their sleeves rolled up, eagerly awaiting the end of the phone call.
すまん、待たせたぜ。
Sorry to
ア
keep
メ
you
リカ
waiting.
から連絡は来たか。
Have we heard anything from the States yet?
はい。
Yes.
外線にデイル渡辺弁護士からです。
You have a call from Dale Watanabe, the
お
lawyer.
つなぎします。
I'll transfer it.
結局のところ、感触はどうなんだ。
On the whole, how's it going?
それが一つ芳しくないようでして。
There seems to be an unfortunate
先方
matter.
は裁判をも辞さないつもりのようです。
It appears the other party has no intentions of withdrawing from the trial.
やっぱりごまかしきれねえかな。
Guess there's no fooling them.
つないでくれ。
Please transfer it
わか
here.
りました。
Understood. I'll do it right away. The executive ordered the external line be transferred to the secretarial office. So they're just like playing all. This is kind of weird from my perspective. They're playing through all the scenes they referred to second or third hand. So we know how this scene goes, but I'm not sure why we needed to see this scene firsthand after they referenced it. Because it wasn't like, I mean, it played into his motivation, but we didn't need to see this scene firsthand to understand that it played into his motivation. Does that make sense? It's like we knew this was the case, that his lawsuit's not going well. He's getting fucked over in America or some shit. Like, we already knew that he was getting fucked over overseas by some lawsuit. Did we really need to see the particulars of this scene? I'm not sure. They've done this with a couple scenes. Like, they redid the whole airport scene just so they could give us, like, that 5 lines of dialogue where George was pretending to propose to Shannon in the bathroom. I'm not sure this is, like, really worth the time you're making people sit through, dude. What's this guy? What's this guy? Rishiki? I don't remember his name, but like an editor, if you had a real editor, because I know it's one guy writing this, if he had a real editor, they'd fucking make him cut this shit out, because this is a massive waste of screen time. He needs to do better here. We don't need to sit through these scenes. Most of the scenes we've been sitting through here aren't super important to, like, the actual plot, and don't really add too much background. But yeah, he needs an editor. A lot of these scenes, some scenes are character building, but they don't need to exist. Or they could happen elsewhere, like inside the main plot. We were literally doing a linear, we started with the prologue in chapter 2, and then we moved into stuff that's taking us towards the mansion again from different perspectives, like they did in the second chapter of Higurashi. And now we're randomly getting a flashback that's even further backwards, and it's like, why are we getting this? It's like, we're getting this scene simply because the author wanted to put this scene in the book but didn't have an appropriate place, and so he just shoved it in here for no reason. Like, a competent editor would tell you this scene needs to go. Axe it or find a way to make it fit into the story naturally, because it seems so jarring to be at this location. When in theory, the Rudolph should be on the boat right now. Like, they didn't even segue into this and say, like, oh, you know, oh man, I'm having some really bad financial troubles. Or like, man, life is fucking hard. Boom, flashback. They didn't do anything like that. They just had the scene end and transition into this prologue scene. And you're like, why does this exist? How is this informing me of anything that's happening? Why was this relevant? Same with the scene there. The train scene with Rosa, I mean, it felt very similar to the scene in the Rose Garden, and it felt less relevant because we'd already seen it, but like reiterating her bad behavior or violent tendencies, like to like set the relationship for Maria Rosa in the event that people didn't get it from the first time. I think that one kind of works. The executive ordered the external line be transferred to the secretarial office. At once, the phone in front of Rudolph rang.
もしもし。
Hello.
ハローハロー。
Hello,
お
hello.
待たせしました。後ろ宮です。
Sorry for the wait. Ushiromiya
どう
speaking.
もどうも。
Thanks,
いかがですか
thanks.
そちらは。
How's it going on your end?
Hello, President Ushiromiya.
Hello, President Ushiromiya. He's speaking in English.
挨拶は抜きで本題に入りましょう。
Let's skip the pleasantries and jump into the main issue. And this is what excites you about Ryukishi doing Silent Hill. He'll be able to use his storytelling strengths, but have an actual team to get rid of weaknesses. Yeah, it feels like he doesn't have an editor. So if he's working with someone else, that would be really nice. Hopefully they don't ruin his storytelling strengths. But in theory, you could see his strengths with some of the big glaring misses because he doesn't have an editing team fixing some of that. One restriction, though, is that if he's doing Silent Hill is in fact a video game and isn't just a novel, so there's going to be some actual restrictions on him as to what he can or cannot do, because they aren't just playing cutscenes all day, which is going to be a bit different. But then again, I think people really liked Elden Ring, and that was George R.R. Martin's doing, right? So the writer and video game collab can go really well. Oh yeah, Silent Hill already has its own canon too. Elden Ring was brand new. Silent Hill has its own story, although I thought it was like not really connected. I honestly haven't played enough Silent Hill to know that. He only did item descriptions. Dude. I don't know if you know this, but 99.9% of Dark Souls lore is item descriptions, and like 1% is character dialogue. Like there's some nice stories, but 90% of figuring shit out is you listening to character dialogue and reading every single item description to understand what the current setting is like. You have to read. That's why when people, when people get their favorite streamer to play Dark Souls, they're like, read the fucking item descriptions, and like the person will start doing it. Or like it's really important if you want to understand things. Item description in form of non-important descriptions. I don't actually know what he wrote. I don't know what parts are his and what he did. I just know that people really like Elden Ring, so I'm assuming he had a significant role to play in that. And I'm assuming he helped with world building in some way, shape, or form. But if he just did item descriptions, I guess that's a thing. I mean, he can presumably write interesting descriptions. Alright, the main issue. I've got good news and bad news. What do you want first? Start with the bad news. I hate fighting when there's no dessert. Very well. The bad news is the other party is getting ready to prosecute. A few days ago, a similar trial resulted in a decision in favor of the plaintiff. Defendants were using roughly the same arguments we planned to use, but they were rejected in every case. I'm afraid to say it, but if we face the courtroom as we are now, it's extremely likely each one of our claims will get rejected. Okay. I hope there's more details in this, because this is incredibly vague and it's not new information. Like, he's even using dialogue that makes it seem like he wants to keep this as vague as possible. The other party? Who the fuck is the other party? What company are they? What do we make that they are suing us over? Please explain some of this, because this seems like a scene that should have been left vague because the author doesn't seem to want to give specifics. It's like you could rewrite this with like, it seems what do we want to say? Smith Industries it's like, the bad news is, we could have written this as like, the bad news is that Smith Industries is getting ready to prosecute. Just a few days ago, a similar trial resulted in a decision in favor of the plaintiff, and you're like, okay. The defendants, whoever they are, Wayland Yutani, no, they did win, but anyway, we're using roughly the same arguments we plan to use, but they were rejected in every case. They're like, say what their things are. What are their arguments? Like, you know, they lost especially hard on this one. I'm afraid to say it. We face the courtroom as we are. It's likely each one of our claims will get rejected. Like, say which of our claims is getting rejected, and that, like, we don't really have a leg to stand on based on how they ruled. Because it's just, like, it's so vague that this could have been a third-party scene, or something said secondhand, where he's like, yeah, I was getting fucked. The guy said, like, some other case got won. Like, why is this firsthand? The lawyer they're talking to on the phone should be using specific language, saying, another case was just resolved. You know, it was like, you know, it was Apple versus Epic Games, and they got fucking crushed. And if we try to do this, it's gonna go really badly for us. Like, words like the other party could be fucking anything, and it makes you think it's not relevant. Like, it's like the way it's written says it's not relevant because the person who's literally suing us is referred to as the other party, when that should be a proper noun saying it's this fucker. Like, we should be specific, but whatever. Alright. That's how we're going. This scene seems even less relevant as it progresses because it's not written out like a proper extension to the story. Because we don't know the specifics of the case or what this guy's manufacturing or selling that he's getting sued over. When, you know, in a legal drama or anything that's relevant here, we should know this, right? So that trial ended up being a total bust effort. Feels like Blizzard inventing another big bad. So that trial ended up being a total bust after all. And I thought their position was even more solid than ours. That hurts. Okay, what about the good news? I contacted the executives of the other party. Explained, we have no intention of tarnishing their brand's image and managed to get an understanding. As I recall in the 80s, Japan was getting intentionally fucked over by the United States as hard as humanly possible, so, yeah, they'd probably be in a really bad spot. As they put in a whole bunch of laws, a new trade deal, and a bunch of other shit that was like fucking Japanese exports as intentionally. Which is kind of a dick move, but whatever. It didn't really seem all that sensible when I read about it. But basically, they were being like super fucking discriminatory against the Japanese. Even putting in anti-Japanese laws in place so that the Japanese couldn't trade in America. Or profitably trade in America. Which is kind of funny, because they did that, and everything went to China. And now they're like, well, this is a problem, because China's actually bigger and doesn't even care if we shut down anything. A bit of a throw on their part. They kneecap their own ally because they want to stay on top, and America kneecaps their own ally in the form of Japan, who they're basically like puppeting the military of. Since they kneecap the country's industry and productivity, all of it goes to random other countries in Southeast Asia that America doesn't have sway over. Awkward moment, guys. Awkward real-life moment. You kneecap your own ally because you want to stay in front of them. Your opponent gets a leg up on you. Your theoretical opponent gets a leg up on you. Because of all the fucking around you did with your own allies. Yeah. Good plan. They'll send us their terms in the next few days, and if these are carried out, they promise to withdraw their charges. This is their proposal according to the number 2 man on their board of directors. Impression? I expect their terms will be extremely severe. We estimate changing the company name and brand name will be inevitable. How on earth are they gonna force a company name change? And a brand name change, whatever. You know what? They give away the strangest fucking law. They give away the strangest fucking legal conditions. So that's kind of funny. This company, so our company, the company that this guy's theoretically working for, is gonna be forced to change their brand's name and their company's name. And so is the other person who got sued. So there were 3 people of the same name? That seems so dubious. Then again, in America, in America, you could have two companies with the same fucking name sometimes, and you can also not sell games with the same fucking word in them because the word scrolls is fucking. As I recall, the word scrolls and what was it? Scrolls and something. Scrolls and something else are both reserved. You can't actually put the word scrolls in any video game title, for some reason. So as I recall, someone was it Notch who was trying to make a game called Scrolls, and Scrolls is the word Scrolls is copyrighted because The Elder Scrolls actually has a reservation on every single word, including scroll. Any game containing the word scrolls in it for some reason. I don't really understand how the American legal system works, but they're like, I have no joke. I forget what product I was looking at, but I shit you not, the company had the name of a game, and I was like, what? How is this even legal? How is this even legal? Fucking weird, man. It's like I don't understand how naming works, but it's really absurd. So I guess they have like 3 completely unrelated names, and somehow they're getting sued for it because it's America. Like, I don't understand how naming works in the States. You can have products and product lines and companies with the exact same name, which is very confusing, but you can also not have like a game with the same name, but you can have songs with the same name for some reason. Like, how can multiple songs have the same name, but you can't have 2 games with similar names? Because I would honestly say I would honestly say that Skyrim is a very different title than Scrolls, but apparently, according to the law, those are the same game. But you can have Solitaire and Solitaire as... You can have Solitaire, Solitaire, and Solitaire, which are all different songs, and there's no copyright there. I don't understand how the fucking law works there. It's so dumb. It's like Skyrim and Oblivion and Scrolls all have the same name, which is really weird. And I don't understand how that works. It's just weird. Better than pretty much declaring war on someone and expecting economic trades? You mean like... I don't recall how Trump was trying to get good deals out of China. I mean, he was able to believe... Do you trademark a name, lyrics, rhythm, etc.? Well, for songs, it's like typically it's like the melody, right? You trademark like the melody because you can't trademark 4/4 timing. It's fucking weird. Anyway, we gotta finish this scene. Alright. So they'll play around with the settlement money and making a public apology in a newspaper, and carrying this out within a reasonable amount of time. You rarely trademark names. They sure are making this complicated when they could just tell us to go broke. They only recently switched to a new president. Their groundwork hasn't been completely laid yet. If we resist until the bitter end, they fear the forces opposing the current president won't hesitate to aid their enemies. Hence their big shots want this settled as quickly as possible too. We might have enough leeway to get them to mitigate their terms, if it leads to a quick settlement. Either way, are we still looking at a crazy amount of money? You need to be ready for that. Even that would be cheaper than paying punitive damages. Thank you, sir. And weirdly enough, these punitive damages are apparently enough to fuck the entire company over, when I've never seen a legal judgment ever kill a company like this. Typically, it's like 1% of... It's typically like 0.5% of their income for a year. Like 10 million or some bullshit. Thank you much, sir. Contact me if anything new happens. Like the actual sum for... How much was... I'm trying to remember. Okay, all of the grocery stores in across Canada were convicted of price fixing on, I believe, bread products, okay? Every single one of them were colluding to raise the price of bread artificially like as high as it could go, basically. So you couldn't find bread cheaper in Canada. Physically impossible. The damages were less than 1% of the income for 1 year. That was the damages for price fixing. The prices went down. The prices all suddenly went lower by about $1 on bread for 3 months. And then they went up $1. You know why? Because I started buying bread and making sandwiches because it was so cheap. And then it went up by a full $1 and it was like, oh, we're back to price fixing. They're going to have to do another lawsuit. That's how it goes. Like, no company will ever go bankrupt from a lawsuit like this. No company will ever go bankrupt for a lawsuit. Doesn't matter what they do. Their government won't kill them. Except, in this case, there's a chance they will actively try to, because the United States is currently trying to push, is trying to crush Japanese exports. Because I believe this is the 80s or 60s. This is the pre-2000s era Japan, post-World War II, where there is some fear of there is like Japanese terror or whatever the fuck the mania is. Basically, for some reason, despite the fact they are literally puppeting the government of Japan, they're afraid that Japanese exports are going to come to dominate the world somehow, despite Japan having a tiny population and a lack of space, period, and no military. Yeah, weird times, okay? Nobody has any clue how they're going to do it, but they're apparently going to conquer the world, so they kneecap them as hard as they can. So I would kind of believe this might happen because this is like the 80s, and this is like sort of feasible, but in real life, this probably wouldn't happen, at least these days. Thank you very much. Please contact me if anything new happens. We're paying you the big bucks. No idle chit-chat.
Thank you. Goodbye.
Thank you, goodbye. Rudolph hung up the phone. The executives sitting in reception seats seem to have guessed at the contents of that discussion. You guys hear that? Yep, simply put, they'll forgive us if we can pile up enough money. Now all we gotta do is haggle over the amount of money. Rudolph's company is just starting to expand. No large established company will go bankrupt from lawsuits. Smaller ones often fail. Maybe, but like, typically if you're just like a company that's just getting started, you're probably also not going to get hammered like this super hard. With successful or failed lawsuits, like they're probably not going to bankrupt you. And if you're expanding into the country, you would have done some market research. And like, they're going to make you change your name in another country? That doesn't quite make sense. They're going to have to change their company's name, but their company's name is registered in Japan. And to register a company, it needs to be verified that it's unique and its industry is in its industry. So, like, they wouldn't have gotten a business license in the first place. It would have been impossible to get a business license to operate your company in the first place. As in order to get a business license, you have to, like, specify your industry and your company name and fill out a bunch of forms and bullshit. So it's unlikely that their company name is replicated and that they can't use it in Japan. So they might be, like... And they would have had to do the same thing to get a license to operate in the US. So it's a bit it's iffy, but alright. Yeah, you didn't know you had to register your business? Yeah. So if you like actually make a company, you do have to get a business license. And that's like one of the things you use. It's not like absurdly hard to do. Like you could probably do it in person right now because you can get a business license for like your own personal business if you want to. And it will help you. It'll help open some doors, especially if you're trying to open like a small store or something. Or you want to be a distributor of some product or something. But President, the likely sum for the settlement, you indicated it's too much. They didn't say the sum, they just said it was a lot. We don't have that much of a margin? If we'd known this would happen, we never would have started diversifying. The calculations were that we could escape if we could escape a capital crisis if we managed to endure 3 years. To think we'd be stabbed at a time like this, how bad can our luck get? I guess we fell at the step of the hot step jump. Enough to make you cry. We'll have no choice but to draw money from the main bank. Banks are no good. They only bet their money on winners. The economy is improving, but we can't show weakness to the banks.
President.
外に資金はありますか？
Do we have access to any funds that are
我々
unaccounted
の
for?
把握していない資金です。
Funds we're unaware of?
よせやい。俺がそういう男に見えるかよ。
If I look like that
俺
kind
の
of
財
guy,
布の中身は全てお前らにさらしてるぜ。
the contents of my wallet are totally exposed to you
そ
guys,
こにある
okay?
帳簿が我が社の全てだ。
The account books over there show all our company has.
金策が必要です。
In that case, we need to raise money.
数百万ドル単位を引っ張れるスポンサーが大至急必要です。
We need a sponsor who can draw in several million for us as soon as
社
possible.
長、
President,
社長の交友関係で何とかなりませんでしょうか。
couldn't something be worked out with one of your personal
社
connections?
長、社長。
President?
ああ、落ち着けてめえら。
Alright, calm down,
金
bastards.
策は俺が何とかする。
Let me worry about
お前
raising
ら
that
は
money.
ガタガタせずに業務を維持しろ。
Keep the business running without making too much noise. Our accusers are saying they'll let us be if we can show them the money.
すでに俺たちはアジアに太いパイプを持ってる。
We already got thick pipelines in Asia.
いろいろ響くだろう
Things
が
will probably be shaky, but
取引は維持でき
we'll
る
be able to maintain our current
要は
deals.
金さえ詰めりゃ全て解決できる問題なんだ。
Basically, if we can bring the money together, we'll be able to solve all our problems.
見てろ。俺が全
Just
て
you
解
watch,
決
I'll
す
fix
る。
all this.
お前らを路頭に迷わせなんかしねえぞ。
I won't leave you out in the cold.
大船に乗った気でいろい。
Time to start getting your
無
hopes
事
up
に解
again.
決したらお前ら全員をシャンパンタワーでねぎらってやるぜ。
Once this is behind us, I'll reward all of you with a champagne
約束す
tower.
る。だから
I
黙
promise
って
you.
俺についてこい。
Shut up and follow
い
me.
や
Got it? The airplane suddenly shook, probably due to turbulence. Okay, so we're flashing back. They're on the plane, and he was like dreaming about that scene. That's presumably the cut we're going with. That's sort of okay. It was 30 minutes though, so it's not like it was 30 minutes including takeoff and landing. So it's unlikely he fell asleep and he was daydreaming here. It's a okay segue, I guess. That said, that scene was completely useless. Did we learn anything new from that scene? I don't think we learned anything new. That scene could have been cut, and nothing would have changed. Well, I'm having fun reading some Umineko, but unfortunately we gotta wrap this Umineko session up a little bit early. We'll catch the Umineko train, the Sea Cat train, next time.